What's up, y'all? I told you I was gonna release a video today. If you can hear a motorcycle in the background, it's my neighbors. Um, I told you I was gonna do a video on this, and because I can do whatever I want, I'm gonna do it. Nothing can stop me, really. So it's we'll start at the beginning. It's the month of May, and I officially end my first year of college. I was applying for jobs way before, midway through April around my birthday, when I turned 19 and shit. And um and pretty much um I applied for a couple places and a couple dealerships back home. And because I was only working for a set number of time for 3 months, no place really wanted to like hire me all too much, because what's the point of hiring someone just for 3 months, in the sense of where it's like we hire you for 3 months and then you go back to school and then we have to find a new person, right? And I can understand that. Like I can get that, I can get behind that. I can understand it and shit. But um, I decided to live off campus, which, as you guys can see, I live off campus. In comparison to my older videos where you saw me with a brick wall behind me and, another bed. Obviously, there's a bed, my bed right here. Nice big ass room just to myself and shit. Um, if you also hear a fan, I have a fan right next to me. It is. Hold on. I gotta see what the temperature is because, dude, I'm sweating. It is. Hold on. It's loading. This thing sucks. It takes forever to load the temperature. I don't know why. It is 57 degrees and I'm sweating. Then again, I have no shorts up here, but whatever. Let's forget about that. Let's get back to the story. And what's up, Vaz? And so pretty much I got this scheduling, I guess, where I had to make 800 a month and shit. And pretty much what happened was I was doing good. I got two jobs. You know, I got my mom and my dad. They pulled through. They did a lot, and they pretty much paid for the first month, which was $800. So I only had three installments left because it was 3,200 for the semester and shit. And it's really disappointing about what happened. Um, so I got two jobs. Um, Working at Hayden's Service Center. It's in Sparta, New Jersey. Lovely people. No hate towards them. They did everything they could for me, in my opinion. They were, welcoming, kind, understanding, accepting, all that, even though I was just shop help and stuff and I wasn't actually a technician, which is what I was trying to get a job for. And then at the other place, it was known by two names. The owner of the building um, bought cars at auctions, and his company was East Coast Auto Trader in Sussex, New Jersey. And the people I was working for, their shop name was Metalhead Automotive. Corny as shit, by the way. Um, and I was working part time for them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then I was working on at Hayden's Tuesday and Thursdays, and I was making roughly fair amount of time, fair amount of money. 8 hours every day, both shops, so I was pretty full. Practically a 40-hour work week just at two different places. Um, but the thing is, Hayden's had AC, Hayden's had heating. Sure, it didn't work sometimes, but guess what? it's the summer, you don't need heat. You only need AC during the summer. And so I'd be sweating my ass off, but at the same point in time, I'd actually have air conditioned break room, and I'd have compressed air that was cool and that was there available, that I didn't have to wait, for some bullshit to happen, just for a compressor just to turn on or just to get to a certain amount just to use it, right? So Hayden's perfect. If I could have, just worked at Hayden's, I probably would have. But I thought that it'd be smarter, better, because I was actually, a tech at Full Metal Automotive, or East Coast. I'm going to refer to it as East Coast Auto Trader for the rest of this video, just because it's easier, and because if you go on the lovely thing called Google Maps, you can actually type in East Coast Auto Trader, right? And it pops up. Car dealership, in Sussex County, New Jersey, pops up right there. And pretty much, like, what happened was I'd be working, and he'd be like, it'd be a lot better if you could come here full time, because we got a big project in. It was an engine swap from a BMW 325i onto a BMW 28i, I believe it was, and it was a really big thing, really big thing that was going to bring a lot of money in and shit, which so he called. And by he, I didn't really want to, use people's names in this just in case, but I refuse. I refuse to just stay quiet. I refuse to stay silent. And if they want to come at me, they can. But at the end of the day, dude, they didn't do their job as individuals. And I will say some of their families' names too. I don't care. Or I guess not really immediate family, but people that they were dating or, talking to at the time. I don't have their full names, or if I do, then it's not going to be like, I'm going to butcher the name, and it's like, and I don't know, but I'm just going to butcher them on accident or on purpose. I don't know. But for starters, there was the boss, the kingpin of the situation, and the one who I called my boss, Dustin Wright. You are a piece of shit. And then you got his right-hand man. I lost his... Actually, I don't think I lost his name. I gotta check Facebook Marketplace, I think. Or not Facebook Marketplace, but... Because... But it's just like... It's just the truth, It's just like... It's just... It's unacceptable, And that there's no reason to, even be doing this, that there's no reason to even be, well, I don't have one on Facebook, but I have another one on Facebook. I have to just check, because it's really annoying. His right-hand man, Corey Van Haeselen Jr. Fuck you. And then I will give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Only, and I really shouldn't be doing this because it's not me as an individual, and I don't do this for anybody. Jacob, I don't know your last name, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because You have autism. I don't care. You have autism. You get the benefit of the doubt. You are in no control of anything, of any managerial role or of anything. You are just a technician. You are, you know, I have nothing truly negative to say about him, right? But then you got the landlord, this scum piece of garbage that came from overseas with a thick, fucking heavy ass accent that he's a piece of shit. That's pretty much it. I don't even fucking know. I don't even know his name because I never fucking really talked to him because I didn't really fucking like him. But back to the story. We were doing the engine swap on the BMW, 325i X Drive to the 328i X Drive, and the reason why we were doing that was because the customer got fucked over when he bought the 325i. The person that he bought the car from pretty much just didn't truly give him the real title and gave him like a copy of it and shit. And I don't know how, shit got messed up, but practically we were just doing an engine swap because since he technically didn't own the 325i, he just was going to take the engine, and it was a good running engine from that, and the 328i had a bad engine in it, so we were pretty much just like swapping the engine for a good one, I guess. Um, and we were doing that, and since I was working there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's what I was doing. But because like it was a smaller shop, and I should have never even worked there because of the people and their backgrounds. Um, for instance, Corey, he had probation. Um, he was not allowed to drive, for one. So every time that he drove a car, he did it illegally. So he can't get a job at another shop because of the fact that, he's got a bad record. Um, Dustin Wright, he claimed that all of his shit was being sent to his ex baby mama's house and that she was just cutting them up. And so that's why he didn't have a driver's license. I personally think he got it taken away for just being a fucking idiot and just being himself because he's a fucking piece of shit. Um, and at the time when I was working there, he had a girl that he was dating named Kaya. They had a kid, right? And I thought Kaya was nice. I thought Kaya was, very, caring, very smart and shit. And I thought that she was an understandable person, right? And sometimes, and apparently, Dustin and her fucking grandfather or father, whatever, went halves on an Audi, right? And it was in Dustin's name, yada, 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 whatever. And like he's making her cry and shit, and he's like telling me not to get married and shit, like, but he's not married to her, yada yada yada, whatever. Like, he's giving shitty advice to me and stuff, but that doesn't matter to me, right? And then we had like this woman in the shop. Her name is Heather. Um, I don't know her last name, but she was on the older side, Hispanic. She was, I think that she was super chill. Sometimes, I see her, I know where the car is. She drives um, an Alfa Romeo, and, it's kind of a sign that, she's smart with money. She understands, what she has to do to make the money and shit. But pretty much what happened was Dustin asked if I could go full time and I could like just do flat rate, because being told in school, I was told in school, first year, I was told in school, flat rate is the best thing that you can do as a tech. if you're fast. And I thought I was fast enough to do flat rate. And so I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. And I told the people at Hayden's service center, hey, look, the other place gave me the opportunity to go full time, and I'm gonna take it. And put my pretty much. I didn't put my 2 weeks in, which I kind of wish I did, because I would have actually had more money coming in. Um, but pretty much what happened was he was saying that people weren't paying after we did, work on their car and shit. And I'm pretty much making this video to let you guys know to never trust certain individuals or to trust certain independent shops based on the way that they look from the outside. Um, Basically, what happened was I quit working at Hayden Service Center, got a full time, and this was midsummer, and it's like the end of June, right when this happens and shit. Um, so pretty much what happened was end of June, beginning of July. I start working full time at East Coast Auto Trader, and I'm told that that the days are getting hotter, and that shop had no AC, had nothing, right? And so all I could do is work every day in the blistering heat, right? You know, and some days we wouldn't even work because it'd be too hot, right? And I was supposed to be working, and instead I was sitting at home playing video games. And obviously, yes, I do like playing video games, right? But I needed money coming in. How the fuck was I? And I told him, I'm like, look, I need money coming in. I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. Right? Like, dude, I need hours. I need money so I can pay my landlord. He's like, don't worry, I got you. I wouldn't leave you high and dry. You know, don't worry. I wouldn't leave you high and dry. You're like a little brother to me and shit. Right? He was acting all like this is family. Like this is some fucking corny ass fucking movie. Like this is Fast and Furious and shit. No, it's not. This is fucking real life. Nigga, I got fucking bills I have to fucking pay and shit. And so and I have to pay my landlord 800 every single month, right? On the 1st. July 1st comes around and I pretty much fucking pay my landlord 800 cuz I get 800 from a mix of both the shops that I worked at, right? And yeah, it's really shitty because I should make 800 in a fucking week, right? And I live in Jersey, right? The minimum wage in Jersey is I think it was like 15.50 at that point in time. Even $15 times that by 8, dude. It's like what are you doing? Like I should be making more than enough money to be able to sustain me, to be able to pay for food, to be able to pay for gas, to be able to pay for all this stuff, right? And it sucks because I'm like fucking I don't know what the fuck to do. It's like I'm juggling all these fucking all these different things with only two hands, and a dream pretty much. And then midway between in July, um, my girlfriend breaks up with me. And I was heartbroken. I was in shambles, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, always. And if there's a way of feeling something, I was feeling like shit. You know, Physically, I stopped working out. Mentally, I kept beating myself up. Emotionally, I kind of just like cried myself to sleep every single night. And it's like I'm mad enough to admit that I cried myself to sleep every single night because I wondered where I went wrong. spiritually, I didn't feel connected to God in any way, in any sort of way, because I didn't believe that there could be another one, because I thought that I met the love of my life, because we already had names for our kids, if we were going to get married. And it sucks because I had such strong feelings towards her, and it hurts because she was such a nice individual towards me when we first met. I mean, I wouldn't say when we first met she thought I was a jackass. um, I think it's because I just had a buzz cut. So yeah, never going back to that shit. um, but but I I kept my I kept doing what I was supposed to do, pretty much. Showed up to work every single day, um, grinded, and I didn't make nearly enough money that I should have. My car broke down. My Mini Cooper that I had for less than a year started having issues, and none of these issues were caused by me in particular. Um, Apparently, that year, that model, that engine was built by BMW and had oil burning issues from the factory. And I looked it up, and apparently that engine blows a lot more than it should. It seizes a lot more than it should. And it sucked because my motor seized, and I couldn't do much. I was stranded, and I would show up every day to work still. I would ride my fucking BMX bike to work in the rain, in the heat, and I'd be waiting there because they didn't have a set time when they would fucking show up because they were unprofessional. And that is unacceptable in any way or form. Telling me that I need to be up at a certain time and not being there and not being the responsible adult that you are. That is a fucking problem. And I pretty much um, had my car, there and shit. So I would be just working on my car, and getting my engine, solved out and figured out and shit, right? And it was a problem. It was a real issue. But August comes around, and I am able to pay for, my my monthly thing, right? Because I had to pay June 1st, July 1st, August 1st, and September 1st, right? And so I'm working my ass off, right? And I'm doing what I got to do. I have to go to school August 15th to start my second year of college, right? And my car's still not done, right? And it's frustrating because obviously, yes, there's customers and shit, and that needs to be done, but also my car needs to be done. And my dad kept pestering me, kept trying to figure out when my car was gonna get done, and I kept pestering them, you know, and I was not told a real answer. I was not told a truthful answer. I was lied to, deceived multiple times, um, because they were fucking losers, and I I did what I had to do, right? And you know I showed up every day doing my job as a technician, and the only reason why I was able to pay for my fucking rent was because my fucking parents helped out. Without my parents, I would not have a place right now. Without my parents, I would not have, you know, half the shit I have. Um, I legit went to school with my parents paying for half my fucking rent, you know, for the first semester and shit. And I get no calls, no nothing, no, not a fucking notice about how my car is going, when my car is going to get done. No text, no updates, none of that shit, right? And I start working for my landlord, right? And I'm making fucking, you know, money to pay off the rest of my fucking debt and shit. And I'm just trying. I'm trying my fucking hardest to, you know, pay it off and shit, right? But I get it paid off before December. And in that span of time between October, not October, between August and September, not September, August and December, between that time, I'm working my ass off, you know, working for my landlord and shit. And I can try to pull up some of the texts that my dad has like sent me um, and shit. And it was the month of October when my dad and I stopped messing around because I was getting calls almost every fucking week from my dad, you know, like wondering where the fuck my car is at and why isn't it done, because my dad came August 14th, my final fucking day working there, right? To pick me up, you know, and I put my bike in the back of his Honda Pilot, and, you know, and I have a single tear in my eye, right, coming down, right, because I'm upset that my car's not done, that I don't get to drive to school, that I'm fucking stranded here for the second fucking year in a fucking row, right? And that pisses me off. Like, it's not a sad tear, it's an upset, it's a hateful, it's rage built up, just upset, just completely frustration, leaving me in a single fucking tear. And they're all saying, "Hey man, good luck at school, you know, we're gonna miss you, you're a great tech," right? You know, giving me all dap ups, you know, giving me fist bumps, giving me, you know, pulling me in for hugs and shit, right? And I get to, you know, Dustin after saying bye to Heather, giving her a hug, you know, and shit, and saying bye to Jacob and saying bye to Corey, you know. And then Dustin tells me, "Hey man, we're gonna get your car done, you know, soon, and we're gonna drop it off at your dad's house." I'm like, "All right," you know. I'm like, "Hey," and I told him, "Hey, you know, I'm coming back in December, you know, for, you know, my Christmas break and shit, so I'll be able to work then." Right? Because, you know, I was like, you know, I need 3,200 so I can pay for, you know, second semester and shit. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great," you know. And then I get no calls, no texts, no notifications about fucking anything, about anything about my car, right? I call. And I'm like, "Hey man, you know, checking in on the shop, checking in on you guys, and checking in on my car." And like I said in my video yesterday, they we did hand signals. We did pretty much, you know, signs that, you know, we're like, "Look, look, look, do this, do that, do this, do that," you know, while the person on the phone is yelling or talking, right? Dustin's standing there with his phone, like, like trying to be as quiet as possible. And I could fucking hear it, you know, I could fucking tell. And my dad and I are we are so pissed, and these motherfuckers are on thin ice. They are treading so lightly on thin ice that they don't even know what the fuck they're dealing with. My dad and I, we are not fuck. We screw around once, fine, whatever. But you fuck around, you find the fuck out. I get my rage, my anger, all from my dad, and then some. And my dad is getting bat shit angry at these motherfuckers for taking their sweet ass time on something that should have been done. That shouldn't have taken this long. Because it's not like they were getting too many people coming in and asking for their car to be worked on. They weren't. And so what happened was around October 20th, I come home. I come home for a nice weekend. My dad's like, hey, do you want to come home this weekend? And I tell him, absolutely, I'd love to come home this weekend. Right? And then he is, he asks me, um, like, it's like, yeah, it was Monday, October 20th, right? I'm back in class. Shit. And my dad does not fuck around. I texted, you know, because it was, we'll start at August 28th, like one of the more, later texts that I sent him, after I come back to school. I'm like, hey, Dustin, can you send me the 800 so I can pay my rent for September 1st, get that shit paid off? He's like, I'm still waiting for people to pay, bud. I'm broke as hell, and I just had to pay rent at the shop. And keep in mind, this guy is fucking special as shit. It's gonna be backwards, but he can't spell for shit. Even when phones have spell check. I guess he turned that off because he likes being insert R word. Um, and then he's like, I'm like, are people paying Friday? Because this is Thursday, right? This is Thursday. I'm like, dang, are people paying Friday? As a question, because that's when people usually pay the shop and shit. He's like, people are supposed to pay today, and I'm fighting with everyone. I'm like, damn, and I'm like, well, whatever happened with your dad's check? And he told me that he's still waiting, because beforehand, he told me that his dad was depositing a $65,000 check that he got, out of thin air. I don't know. He didn't tell us, where his dad got that shit, right? And he said, hey, Caleb, I'm gonna give you, because that's my actual name. My actual name is Caleb. You know, if I didn't say it, I said it. My middle name is Aries, which is why Adventures of Aries. But I'm like, what happened to your dad's check? And he's like, he's still waiting, dude. I had 1,000 saved, and I had to give it to the landlord for the shop, the Russian cunt. Right? I'm like, that blows. No message. Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 happens. I get a call from my dad. My dad is yelling over the phone, saying that he wants my car done as soon as possible and to contact them. And I text them, my father told me to tell you that you guys have till Friday to finish the car, or he's going to have to tow to my school, because I was, starting an engines class soon where I'd be taking engines down to the block. And I would be able just to take the engine out, figure out what's wrong with it, and fix it all myself, right? And he says, well, cars aren't going to be done by Friday, so engine going in tomorrow. So we've been busy at the shop, so didn't think that we had a time limit on it, but it's okay. Um, I don't know what the problem is, but send your dad my number so I keep him updated, because engine going in tomorrow. For just waiting for the belt to come in and have to get antifreeze. So tell your dad to please give me a text or call. Hope you're doing okay. Haven't heard from you. trying to make some extra cash so I can send it to you. Right? The whole issue with that whole text right there is not just the spelling, because he's, insert R word, but their shop is never busy. Never busy. First lie. Second lie is he said car's not going to be done by Friday. They told me that my car would be done before September. They told me that my car would be done at the end of August. So that's the second lie right there. That's two lies, right? They said that they didn't think that they'd had a time limit. That's a third lie. You said that it'd be done by the end of fucking August. It was not. Insert third lie. He's like, I don't know what the problem is. The problem is I'm stranded at college and I need a fucking car, right? Every problem has a solution. And then I send in my dad's number. He sends me, he doesn't send me cash. He doesn't send me anything, right? And then Thursday, September 18th at 10 in the morning. But engine going in as we speak, so relax. Your brother got you. Genuine text that he sent me. Your brother got you. Engine goes in. But also, no. Also. Why does it need antifreeze? Random question. Why does it need antifreeze? And you mean coolant, right? Not antifreeze. Antifreeze is half of coolant, dumbass. If you were a real tech and went to a real fucking school, you would fucking understand that shit. But you fucking don't. You went to UTI. Urinary tract infection. That's what everyone climbs your fucking school for. It's antifreeze and water. A nice 50-50, motherfucker. And guess what? Not every antifreeze fucking works with with a certain engine. Guess what? Not all coolants are created equally. Guess what? But you would know that if you went to the proper school, like I do, for it. But you don't. You went to UTI. You went to a school that's for jokes. That's for losers. That's for bums. That's for people that don't know how to truly work on fucking cars. All right, sends me pictures of the new engine that I bought. Right. Monday, October 20th. I come home for that weekend. October, I think 17th, 18th, and 19th, right? I come home on the fucking Friday, right? I'm home for Saturday, Sunday. My dad's like, let's go. We're going to the shop on like, I don't even know when, but the Russian guy was, I told my dad, hey, look, the Russian guy, he's there on Saturdays till 6. So we go. It was my dad, my sister, and I. We all go, right? And I'm like, hey, what's up? Staying calm, staying relaxed, not getting into like a heated argument, right? I talked to the Russian guy, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Wada. Hey, I talked to his wife, hey, how you doing? Wada, yada. No. Right? And so I go into the spot where it's the shop area, and I know it's my keys. And the reason I know it's my keys is because every set of fucking keys I own has this on it. And I can prove it right now, motherfucker, too. That it's not just that set. My, my shop keys, where I have, my keychains, my Ace Hardware fucking membership badge on it, right? And even my car keys had one. I have that on all my keys, so I know that they are my keys. And guess what fucking happens? I take my keys, right? Because my car is sitting outside. It's not in beautiful condition. No, it's the furthest thing. But hey, engine's in it, right? So I try starting it. The idle is rough as shit. It is more rough than a bitch giving you straight teeth, okay? October 20th comes around, right? You know, I have to leave the car there, but I take the keys. And because my car is so old and so nice, it's got a nice little keyhole right on that door handle. So I take the key, lock that bitch. Make sure that you can't get in there. Because guess what? I only gave them my one key. Even though I have two keys, I left one at the house and then I gave them one, right? October 20th arrives. I wake up. I go to class. Nice 8 in the morning, like all my automotive classes are. At 10:43 in the morning, yo, what's been, what's going on? Been trying to get a hold of your dad. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I've been trying to get a hold of you to tell your dad we need something from the car to get it done. Your windows are done in the car. Where did you put your keys? Like, and I had some money for you. I don't have Cash App anymore. Yo, your window is down. Yo, your windows are down in your car, bro. Like, bud, I'm not even mad. Can you please call me? Right? He's like, only thing the car needs is radiator fluid and trans fluid. Why do I need trans fluid? Why? Why would I need trans fluid? Right? You know, why would I need radiator fluid? I thought you bought it already. I thought that, I thought that you bought it already. Clearly you fucking didn't. So that's another lie, right? He's like, I don't have Cash App anymore. Okay. Like, that's my issue, nigga. If you got cash, you know, if you truly have cash, call my father and give him the cash. But I was not gonna fucking let, him do that because Dustin is a very violent and aggressive man, and he is willing to fight people over the smallest thing because he's a fucking loser. And then he sends me a message through SMS instead of, normal messages and shit. He's like, uh, and then Monday, October 20th at 2:19 p.m. Well, sorry if I did anything. All I was trying to do was help you out with your car. Just couldn't get a hold of your dad for the stuff I needed. So I love you, kid. Hope the best for you. Call me or text me so I know what's going on. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, the car runs, just needs stuff to finish. Does not run well. Horrible. Um, and I sent you money on Cash App. So you deleted Cash App, but you reinstalled it just to send me money because I was fucking pissed at you, right? Like, I don't know what I did wrong. You mad at me or something, bro? I've been trying to call you, bro. Can you please have your dad, like, come, like, come at least come down and roll up your windows because I have a tarp on it right now. My windows were not down, in at all. My car has an auto roll up feature where you open the door, right? The windows roll down a little bit. You close the door, the windows roll up a little bit. That part was never broken, right? It was a direct lie trying to get me to come down to the shop so that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, right? And then he sends me another text in SMS. So, so please have your father call or something. I don't know how long, been trying to get a hold of your dad about the car. And then he's like, did you get the 200 I sent you? The only sentence that he sent me with zero message errors, with zero fucking typos. Like, how can you only type one sentence properly? He's like, well, let me know or have your mom or dad stop down so they can roll up the windows in the car. I don't know what I did, but all I tried to do is fix it for free. For your dad told me to call him and let him know what it needed. Please let me know if you got the money I sent on Cash App. And I lied to him because he lied to me. I believe that if someone lies to you, you're allowed to lie to them as much as you fucking choose. I also believe that not telling someone that you did something is not classified as lying. It's labeled as not telling the full truth, in my sense. And I'm like, nah, sorry, man, I'm not mad at you. I'm like, my new classes don't end till later, so I couldn't call or respond because my dad isn't mad either, but he wants to get my car towed to me at school. That's all, man. And he wants my car, you know, accessible to be towed to me. He's like, it is, but all I need is uh, radiator fluid and transmission fluid, and it can be good to go. So he drops it off to you. You can drive it. I'm like, Thursday, November 6th. My dad wants to know about the other engine. He said, I'll be dropping that off on Saturday to him. Just got the truck fixed, bud. You got the 200 I sent, right? I should have said, all right, sounds good. And no, I did not. I should have. Right? You know, just to lie, just to get another fucking 200 out of him. But the thing is, I'm not a bad person. At least, I don't think I'm a bad person, you know, in that regards. November 13th. Yeah, I was going to be dropping it off this Saturday, but the guy that's working on it for your dad is coming to get the engine. And then he sends me a text like, how you been, bud? You know, we miss you. Hey, can you ask your dad where he wants the engine? I got a phone call from the shop, but never came on to grab it. Just wanted to know if the guy is getting it or if he wants me to drop it off. That's all the messages I got from Dustin. It's a representation of him and the people that he hires and the people that he deals with and the crowd that he surrounds himself with. This is a long ass video. I'm going on like 46 minutes right now, but it's a long ass video. Pretty much, like, I just stopped talking to him, and if you want to know where their story ends up, the building's on it's for foreclosure. If you want to buy it, like I said in the last video, if you want to buy it and burn it down, do it. Please do, honestly, right? You know, but it's just stupid because everyone there was fucking special, real special in some way, an extra chromey kind of special, right? You know, Jacob's the only one gets the benefit of the doubt because he actually does have autism, and because at that point in time, my girlfriend's little brother had autism, so I was completely fine with, you know, I was completely fine with it because I was, you know, I saw it, you know, often, so I didn't, you know, it didn't really affect me in any sense. But it's a representation of, you know, independent shops and how they are and how they treat their customers and shit and how they are and shit. And it's like what I meant by the hand signals. It'd be like they'd be all quiet and shit while the person on the phone is yelling at them. Dustin would put himself on mute, and then he would tell either Jacob, Corey, or I to either grab it and bring it in as fast as possible, you know, because, or get something out. Like when I went to go get my newer engine, we used a customer's car. Well, shit surprise, guess what happened? Someone who knows that customer spotted her truck, claiming that they were using it to haul scrap. Scrap, aka being my engine, because it looked like scrap from the top, right? We got that engine out of that truck bed in less than 10 minutes while Dustin was on the phone because of that. And that's just the start of it, right? You know, all throughout the time that I was working with them, they did illegal ass shit. Like release Freon out into the world's atmosphere. And if you're in automotive, we all know that that is a fat fucking no-no. Punishable jail time. Big ass fucking fees. It's like, you're stupid. You're fucking dumb as shit if you're just gonna do that. You're just stupid, you know. If you do it on accident, you do it on accident. But they were deliberately doing that shit on purpose. And I don't like holding grudges, but this was a grudge that I could not hold. And my car's still having issues. Um, I have an O2 code. For those who don't know, that O2 means oxygen. For those that are fucking idiots, right? It pretty much is just like senses how much oxygen is in the tailpipe and shit. And like if it's good for emissions, that's all it's fucking strictly based for is emissions based shit, right? So I have an O2 code, I have an ABS code, which ABS is for brakes, which I have to replace the sensor in the front left, which that is a cheap and easy ass fix. So not too worried about that. Yada you, yada yeet. And pretty much it's just it sucks because this was my first car. It was the first car that I got to drive, that felt like mine, that I even named myself. I named her Caitlin. Um, and it was manual. I learned manual on it. It was an exciting process, upsetting process. Um, but the thing is, trusting an independent shop is way harder than trusting a dealership. You can trust dealerships. They're dealerships. They legit sell you the car that you buy. My dad takes his new Honda Pilot, his 2022 Honda Pilot, to the fucking Honda dealership that's nearby us for anything and everything, from oil changes to tire rotations to suspension to brakes, yada you, yada yees. The only thing he doesn't take, you know, his car to fucking Honda for is to fill up on fucking gas, right? And it's or tires pretty much. He goes to Mavis. Shout out Mavis. We love you niggas. Um, but it's it's upsetting because it leaves people with such a disdain and a hatred and not wanting to trust independent shops because one bad egg does ruin the dozen. And that doesn't just stick with automotive, that sticks with everything. I mean, seriously. You name it, and if there's a bad egg in it, I don't fucking like it, right? Protests. Yeah, sure. That might be an amendment that, us Americans have. But I hate them. I hate people who protest. Okay, guess what? We have the availability to peaceful protest. I'm black. BLM was no such thing as peaceful in any way or shape or form. But this is not going to be political. One bad egg does ruin the dozen, in my opinion. And I base everything off statistics. So, pretty much, like, it makes me not want to trust independent shops working on my vehicle. And it's like, yeah, sure. I work on my vehicle for the most part nowadays. Like, and people are telling me, oh, bring it to Sean's class. They can do the ABS since it's brakes. You really want me to trust the fucking people that were in the class behind me, motherfucker? Yeah, no. I know people in that class. Yes, sure. I know a guy that's in that class that has a Mini Cooper, same engine, 2006, whatever. He's the only one I probably would let touch that car. Is he getting to touch it? Fuck no. No one gets to touch that car but me. No one gets to work on that car but me now because of everything that's happened in the past with it. I'm tired of shit. I'm tired of shit going south because someone else works on it and I'm not there because I'm fucking stuck here. Right? So just take your fucking car to a dealership. Who cares if you have to pay more money? If you take your car to a dealership, at least you know that it's going to get done. And if it's a big thing, guess what? They will most likely give you a rental vehicle. I was not granted that. I was not gifted anything along those lines. I was just told go fuck yourself pretty much. Right, And the people that worked on it, after the fucking idiots, hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull up some of the messages that, was sent to this chat that, you know, my mom and dad have. This guy is respectful enough to update my dad on the state of the Mini Cooper, telling us that, hey, look, you know, parts have arrived, pushing it back in and getting, you know, back on it this week. Like telling us how that, like, he's got it running much better now, but he says that there's something that's still not right. Instead of just handing me the keys, there was something still not right, and guess what he did? I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm not just gonna hand you, you know, a half-baked cookie like I'm fucking Crumble Cookies. Fuck you, Crumble Cookies, by the way. But it's a representation, like, to me, of that independent shops cannot be truly trusted, and that just send your car to the dealership and it will be better suited. And it sucks because I don't want to own a dealership. Technically, I want to own a car manufacturing company, you know, and make the car, which I guess technically, if it's just a standalone, I technically it would just be a dealership. But at the same point in time, I trust dealerships 300 times more than I trust an independent shop with the same job. Just because the independent shop can do it cheaper does not mean that it's going to be done anywhere near as good. I mean, seriously. Do independent shops spend the time, the money, or the energy doing all that shit? No, they try to find workarounds. They try to find shortcuts and shit, and it's not fucking good. It's bad. Right? You know, sure, if you're working flat rate, dude, you gotta get as much money. You gotta get as much, you know, time as possible. But that's gonna just it for this video. Talking about you know, my experience with, you know, scammers and horrible individuals that claim to be mechanics. All you guys went to UTI, and I'm gonna keep bashing the shit out of UTI till I die. I had the choice between UTI, Lincoln Tech, UNOH, right? Penn Tech, which, you know, I had those four choices. Those were my four big choices that I were gonna pick, right? The four big ones. I came to Penn Tech, right? You know, I saw their campus, fucking beautiful. They have, and I recommend you come here if you're trying to get into the trades. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit expensive, but guess what? You have an opportunity that UTI will never grant you. And I'll get to that. PCT has not just trades. Well, technically, it is a technical college, but guess what? They got culinary, they got brewing, they got nursing, they have all kinds of different things. They have, you know, normal automotive, which is what I'm in. They have a Honda program currently, where you can go to school and become a Honda technician. It's great. You know, they used to have a Ford program and a Mopar program, but they got rid of them for some stupid reason. They have and where, you know, we kind of, you know, work in, you know, also slight bit of lighter diesel shit. But then they also have collision, where you work on the bodies of cars. Then you have restoration of restoring cars from like the 1970s and shit. Dope as hell, right? And then you have heavy diesel, legit working on gigantic fucking cats, like fucking all that shit, right? And then they have aviation. No other school can do any aviation. Yeah, sure, UTI's got motorcycles and shit, but guess what, motherfucker? The second that Penn College learns, you know, gets people to do motorcycle shit, you know, gets a motorcycle professor, gets, you know, a room for that, UTI is gonna, you know, go straight down with that. But I'm not here to, you know, tell you which side to pick. But hey, PCT, you could be like me. Pay the money, go study abroad. You get to go to Italy. You get to go to France. You get to go to a Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Pagani, Ducati. You get to go to Milan, Italy, Bologna, Italy, Castelfranco. You get to try an authentic tortellini. For those who are Italian, you fucking know that shit's al dente. I'm Sicilian. I'm allowed to do this. You know, it's not rude, but that's for the bees. But that's gonna be the end of this video. Pretty much, just pick the shop carefully that works on your car, and you know, if you have the choice between um, working in an independent shop, thinking that you're gonna make more money because there's less techs there, or working at a dealership, pick the fucking dealership. Who cares if you have more fun at the independent shop? It's not about fun right now. It's about money. And would you rather have a stable job, a job that is smart and people that can definitely, you know, help you and actually send you away to for training and modules so that you can make more money? Or would you rather work in an independent shop where that shit doesn't fucking matter? Know which one you want to pick, and this is not just about automotive. This is about every single fucking, you know, job that you could work at. It's like, would you rather work at, you know, a boring ass like cubicle job where it's like, you know, 12 by 12 pretty much, or would you rather, you know, work at the top, you know, level like Microsoft or some shit? So it's just that, you know, it's pretty much just like pick the pick the option that's not gonna, you know, be filled with people that look like fucking idiots with big ass fucking holes in their fucking ears, you know, for earrings and shit. Or fucking tattoos covering their fucking body head to toe, looking like they're some kind of fucking freak. Um, you know, I'm getting tattoos when I turn 21. You know, only on the shoulders though, because I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to stay, you know, up there. I'm trying to get managerial. I'm trying to be in the managerial role, you know, kind of area, and not trying to look like a fucking idiot. But that's gonna be it for this video. Aries, you know, signing off. You know the deal. Stay good, stay crispy, stay positive. At least try. Um, you know, but you know, it's like I said, you know, yesterday. Just because you have one bad thing happen to you does not mean that that defines your whole year. That, yeah, sure, that sucked. But you know what defined my whole year of 2025? My friends. My friends, you know, fill the void with, you know, sadness and all that shit, dude. Being around the people that I care most about, and you know, that helps. I went home for fucking winter break, right? I had the most fucking fun at my buddy's fucking Leo's house. Dude, we were doing some heinous, disgusting acts, but it was funny. And, you know, sure, if the FBI found out, dude, we'd probably be on a fucking watch list. But it's fun. And, you know, just because, you know, I want a girlfriend doesn't mean that you need one. You know, just stay positive, let everything fall into place. Go with the flow. Just feel the rhythm, bro. But Aries signing off. Stay fresh, stay crispy. Deuces.